Okay, so here we are back again talking about the Spark LE controller and the Spark software. I was going to go through the what they call the filter, the slicer, and I'm not going to touch the roller, but you can see it here in the center, the filter and the slicer. I'm going to show you some things that they do. I have not seen anything on YouTube that shows you how to do that. It would have been neat to see that. I mean, I would have bought it anyway because it's such a fantastic thing, but if you're on the line thinking about buying this thing and you're curious about what these things do, well, this is the video for you. It'll show you what's going on. So you can see I've loaded here a rock drum kit. I'm going to press play. So I've got a pretty basic drum pattern here going. So pretty decent samples. Sounds like a well-recorded drum kit. Does not sound like an 808. Does not sound like a drum machine. It sounds like a real drum kit. Okay, so we're going to go to the slicer. You can see as you click it, it cycles through these various things. We're going to start with repeat. So you can see that was the repeat. So I'm going to touch this on the controller. You can see the mouse is here. I'm going to use my finger to touch the controller. You'll see what's going on in a second. Here we go. So what the repeater does is, based on where you press on this keypad, you can see it's 1/64th, 1/32nd, 1/16th, 1/8th, 3/16th, and 1/4, and that does a repeat. And depending on when you put your finger down, it does the repeats for you. So here we go. I'm going to try the 3/16th. So again, kind of interesting. This one is my favorite. It's called the tape slicer. Okay, so I'm going to press on 2. You'll get the feel for what this is, especially if you've ever owned one of those old-fashioned reel-to-reel tape decks. Just like when you slowed the tape down. So you can see I've still got my finger down on the number 2 area. I'm going to let it back up, and it comes right back. So you can use it as kind of a effect on things. I'm going to do the 4. A little slower to slow down there. Takes a little longer. All right, I'm letting it up, and now I'm going to do the 8 for you so you get the idea how that sounds. How about that niftiness? All right, let's let it up. And you can do a really quick one. If you click on the half here, it's really quick. Okay, so we got that one. That's my favorite one. Okay, so this one is reverse. Same kind of deal as what we did with the tape deck. It'll play it in reverse. Kind of give you that, in the old school days, you would take an analog reel-to-reel tape. You could flip the tape over and get a backwards drum sound. This does it for you with some electronics and your computer. There you go. All right, you hear the snare drum coming in from the backwards direction. Definitely hear the hi-hat. I'm letting up now, and it's going to flip back to forward direction. So kind of nifty there between it. So it can go fast, it can go slow. That's kind of interesting. So it's still kind of staying on beat, but it's completely reversed. Okay, let's go to the strobe. This one's kind of interesting as well. Kind of adds like a sample delay snapshot, and sort of like taking a sample. I guess is the best way to do that. Pan is kind of interesting. This is a stereo microphone. You may be able to hear this. So when I press my finger down on this, you'll hear it pan left and right. So it's sort of like the strobe, except for it's going back and forth. I don't know if you can catch that in the microphone, but the kick drum is going left and right, left and right. Okay, I'm going to mix. this adds a delay from the mixer. It's another part of the Spark software. I'm not going to go to it here, but there is a mixer that controls all the sounds here. Each drum sound has its own mixer channel with an effects loop. So basically this is sending some stuff to the delay. You can hear the delay in the background going off. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to go to the bit cruncher. So what this does is kind of takes the sample of the kit, whatever kit you got loaded. Again, I got the rock drums up here. There's a lot of other kits. And it bit crunches it. So here we go. I'm going to start with a 5. It kind of makes it sound crappier, basically. All right, we're going to go down so you hear what this sounds like as you go down. There's the 4. All right, here's the 3. And here's the 2. Now this really reminds me of some of the first drum machines I ever heard, like the late 70s. There were some Casio keyboards you could buy in like the mid 80s, and they sounded a lot like this. So if you have a fantastic set of samples, or you want to, make your drum set sound like this, this will do it for you. All right, so now we're back to a high fidelity instead of the bit cruncher. Okay, so now I'm going to play with a filter here. So basically what the filter is doing, it's like a parametric EQ that moves around based on where you put your finger. So I'm cycling through here. Let's go to the low-pass filter. There we are, we're on the low-pass filter. So you will see that is my finger moving around that little red dot there on the... So sort of like a severe parametric EQ that you're cycling back and forth here. You do it slowly, it's sort of like a flanger. I mean, it really is a filter, but you're the best if you're a guitar player, somebody just kind of fooling around with this stuff. It's similar to what a flanger or a phaser might do. Okay, so we're on to the next one. I find these things work well, at least in the recordings I've been playing around with, if you do something rhythmically along with it. So you get the idea there. I'm going to go to the next filter, high-pass filter. Kind of use this to make the bottom drop out. If you want to do it, then you get the idea. I'm not even sure what. Some kind of low pass filter. Haven't used that one before. We got another one. All right, so all these filters are kind of this kind of thing. You move your finger around on the pad, and it changes how things sound. So there you have it. All right, so let's go back to the slicer here. I'm going to load a different drum kit for the tape so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. Okay, so if you're thinking about, wow, what other drum kits are there here? I don't want a real drum kit, I want a drum machine. So here we go. These are all the kits that come with it by default. That's a lot of kits. I'm going to load the classic 808. There we go. So I did not change the pattern at all. It's the same pattern we were just using for the rock drum kit. It's A1 on the pattern. You see I've loaded the patterns and the A1. So that's an 808, no doubt about it. Alright, so you see I got the repeat on. Let's click through the slicer here and get the tape loaded. And you know with the 808 or a 909, when you do this kind of stuff, you're going to get real low bass as that slows down. Kind of thing that you need like 10, 20 feet to get that bass wave aligned. Alright, let's see. Let's load up the acid kit's kind of interesting. Okay, got the 4 on the floor going on. Here we go. Alright, let's get back. Every time you load a kit, it resets your filters and your slicer. Here we go. That was kind of interesting. Okay, so you got the idea. The filters are kind of cool on this kind of thing. Cycling through the filters. There we go. Especially with the 4 on the floor. You can kind of cycle through the high frequencies there and get some stuff going on. Alright, let's load up another drum kit for you. How about the jazz drums? Kind of interesting. And here they go. Alright, let's try the bit crusher on that. Okay, so you get the idea there. Alright, and let's load another drum kit here that's more like kind of dance oriented. How about the glitch hop? Alright, so got a little dubstep thing going on here. Bit crusher, here we go. Doesn't sound a lot different, does it? Go to the tape. Oh, I think the earth rotation just stopped. Alright, let's load up another one here. Okay, another classic here. 909 drum kit. So you hear the bit crusher work. We got 3-bit. Okay, so I think this is enough of a video for you to see what the filter and the slicer certainly does and how that interacts with different drum kits. Again, this is the Spark LE from Arturia. It comes with the Spark software, which is what I've got in front of me here. There's a lot of things in this software. Here's the drum kits. Here's the mixer. Like I said, you see that's the kick drum going. You see the hand clap going on here. You've got effects that you can apply to each one. There's a ton of stuff here. You can load up all kinds of different kits. Just click through a couple things. These are the actual samples that are loaded up here. You can load your own samples if you want. This is what's loaded for this one. Let's collapse that mixer, and let me show you one other thing with this. If you're using a sequencer, you have a visual presentation of what's going on with each kit. If you've ever used a TR series drum machine, like a TR 707 or 727, this will look awfully familiar because that's how this thing works. It's beyond where I want to go here. But anyway, great kit. Let's slow it down again. All right, hope you enjoyed the video.